Hello, can everybody hear me? Okay, great. I'm very sorry. I believe there's a bit of a lag here on my end. This is my first time using Your Agora. I apologize for keeping you all very busy people waiting, but let's get straight to it here. My name is Adam. I am a co-founder of Your Agora. As I'm going through the material, feel free to message and text. We have Jake and Paolo with us, and as well as Nadia. So among them, messages in Russian, Spanish, English, and French and Portuguese should all be understood, and they will do their best to answer you as I'm talking. I will probably be ignoring the stream of comments until the question and answer section, but feel free to engage in the chat as I am talking. All right, so getting to it. Your Agora was built by myself and my partner, co-founder, Jake Kaiser, quite a while ago to make teaching easier, simpler, and more creative. We built out a platform for teachers to do that, worked out the kinks, and built that into a mature product. And then just recently, over the past year or so, we have launched a school platform to work with that and to sort of build our idea and just sort of a general, easy, free platform into a real business that works well, not only for teachers and students, but also for the schools. So that's why I'm here talking to you. In addition to the fact of having this platform, I have been a teacher myself for many years, as well as a business owner and entrepreneur for many years as well. So I think I can shed some light into sort of what everyone is now going through in terms of getting things up and running, teaching, working with employees, trying to satisfy customers in this very difficult and stressful time. So without further ado, let me get to the tips. The first tip that I have for any school trying to bring themselves online, either partially or entirely, is do only what you need, do it well, and then grow. It will be tempting to try to find an all-in-one fixer, to try to do everything, listening to your teachers and your students, or browsing all the things that are possible to do. It's very easy for your eyes to get bigger than your stomach and mouth. It is much, much better to find what it is specifically that you need to get up and running, and to do that first. And then if you have to switch out technology later, if you need more features later on, then you can add those later. But it's much more critical that your students, that your teachers, that your administrators all know how to use the technology that they're working with before you throw more at them. The other thing is, you might think features are really great and you're really going to use them, and then nobody uses them, either because the teachers don't know how, or they aren't as valuable as you originally thought they were, or because your users don't like them, or you just miss them sometimes. So yes, Do only what you need, do it well, and then grow. Next key tip is know your tech stack and how it will work together. This is really critical. Coming from a kind of a developer perspective here, or a software development perspective, what you have when you're developing software is a tech stack. And an online school will also have a tech stack. These are the elements that you are going to need to find your students, to bring them online, and to teach to them. The first part, obviously, is a website. I'm sure most of you have that up and running already. And there are lots of different ways of doing it. But get a website up and running. The next part that a lot of people tend to be missing, especially smaller schools, is a CRM. A CRM stands for a customer or relationship management system. A CRM can be something as simple as just an Excel spreadsheet, right? If you don't have an actual management system, you're going to have things in spreadsheets. That can work well in the short term. As you begin to scale up and look at new features and try to manage scheduling and things like this, getting a good CRM that works and fits your needs is going to really make everything much simpler. Of course, keep in mind point one, do only what you need. So as you're looking for that CRM, what you're going to want to do is look at the real key features that you need going forward to stay in touch with your clients, with your students, with your teachers. What's going to work best for them? What are they already comfortable with, right? Ensure that your CRM is interfacing with your clients in a way that's comfortable for them, whether that's WhatsApp or Telegram or Instagram or Facebook or just plain email and phones and SMSs. Most CRMs can handle at least some of these. Figure out which one works for you and use that to manage your sales and scheduling. Next, big tip. Oh, next part of the tech stack before we get to the tip. So you've got your website, you've got your CRM. The next piece is going to be an LMS. That's a learning management system. The LMS is the way that you deliver the material to your students. Very simple LMS is going to be a workbook and PDF files if you're doing it online. You can send them by your students by email a PDF, and then they have their material. Now, there are much better systems than that, Your Agora being one of them. But in terms of understanding what exactly it is and what it's supposed to do, the primary function is it allows you to share material with your students, and then it allows you to get back feedback from your students. I'll talk later on how Your Agora might be able to help you with that. But first, I'd like to get through these tips and the tech stack. So the last part of your tech stack is going to be conferencing. All right, you will need a way to interface with your teachers, with your students, and with everyone together. There are lots of different conferencing apps. We can recommend some if they aren't in the description already. Jake or Nadia will be able to add them in the messages as I'm talking. We do have a few that we recommend, but it really is, again, dependent on your school and what's going to work best for you in terms of interfacing with your students and what sort of features you need. Okay, so you've got your tech stack, right? Your website, your CRM, your LMS, and your conferencing system, your video conferencing. You will need all of these if you're going to be working online. Even if most of your online classes are sort of not like sort of Skype classes, not video conferenced, interfacing with your students in some way is going to be quite critical, at least sometimes, for tests and interviews, for example. So you will need all of those, but you will also need to decide what features are the most important for you. And then as you're looking for them, shop by feature, right? Again, don't let your eyes get too big for your stomach. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Find the features that are most important, and then pick the elements to fill in your tech stack based on what you can handle and what you really need, right? The last thing I'd like to talk about regarding knowing your tech stack is you should have at least one person on your team that is the master of each of these elements of the tech stack, right? Maybe that goes without saying, but it can be very easy to sort of spread the responsibility around, and then when something goes wrong or someone has a question, nobody really knows the answer. You should have one designated person on your team that knows your website, your CRM, your LMS, and your conferencing app inside and out, so that when a teacher has a question, when a student has a question, there is someone who can quickly go and give that answer to make sure everything is running very smoothly. So yeah, that's tip number 2, know your tech stack. Tip 3, you're going to need to keep people responsible and accountable. This kind of folds into what I was saying before with knowing your tech stack. That is across the board, though. It is very easy when you're setting these things up, when you're setting anything up, to sort of let people go off and do their own thing, their own research, and then things kind of fall apart. Having very clear instructions on who is in charge of what and what should be done by each individual, including maybe even especially the teachers, is very critical. For example, you have someone in charge of scheduling the classes and creating the course list, right? They create that course list. You've got your list of courses, and then who is responsible for ensuring that the curriculum or the syllabus of those courses are up to scratch. That's an element that can easily fall through. Perhaps you're using pre-made courses by us or by someone else, or you're trying to adapt course material from books that you've been using. In any case, there should be someone responsible for that syllabus to ensure that the quality is there. Sort of not knowing who's responsible for what can cause very big problems. Next tip number 4, leverage your assets. Now, this might go without saying, but you know your market best. You know your students best. When you are launching online or trying to grow your business online, trying to put your school online, don't forget about the assets that you have at your disposal. As a member of a community within a particular country and area, use what you know and the assets that you have at your disposal as that are particular to your school as best as you can. Do you have someone who's really good with videography, or who's posting live feeds on YouTube or Facebook a lot? Well, then get them in front of a camera and bring them into your course. Do you and build a course around their activity? Do you have do you know of that a lot of people in your area are involved in a particular industry? Well, then build a course around that particular industry so that you can more uniquely meet the needs of your clients, and that you can better exploit the assets that you have. And of course, the biggest asset that any school has is your teachers, right? there are a lot of platforms out there. There are a lot of ways of doing it where you just kind of throw something at your teachers and they use it, and it's exactly the same as what they'd be doing in a completely in a different school, in a different country, in a different area. And if that's what you're doing, if you're just telling your teachers to do what they're supposed to do, what everyone else is doing, then you are not going to be leveraging their unique professional skills. You're not going to be using their fullest potential, right? You really need to let your teachers teach. And that means, one, listening to them. Do your teachers have the tools that they need to engage with students? Be sure they do, and ask regularly how the tools they're using could be better. Use their feedback to guide future growth in your tech stack, right? Another point: are your teachers creating and curating material? If they aren't, then you are wasting their talents. Especially online when you don't have that in-person communication as much anymore. It is much more incumbent upon finding the avenues for your teachers to sort of express themselves and make their material unique to their students, as opposed to clicking through pre-made slideshows, for example. And then the final thing is, as much as you can, reduce the paperwork and the bureaucracy. Teachers are going to be very burdened with all of these changes, and trying to manage all of this is going to be difficult for them, even if they're young and very tech savvy. Getting all this up and running can be quite tough. Ensure that you are not throwing too much onto their plate in terms of grading things and filling out forms and all of the things that really do not add value to the classroom. All right, so that's tip 4, leverage your assets. Tip 5, start fast, make mistakes, learn, and grow. Right? If we were in a different time, I might recommend spending some time developing a new curriculum over the summer, testing it out for a semester, tweaking it, and then training teachers for a few weeks on how to use a new online platform, and then perhaps in the winter semester going off and actually using it. We have done that with a lot of our clients in the past. It works great, but quite frankly, none of us have the time now. Of course, with that time crunch, people are a lot more understanding as well. They will let you make mistakes. Your students won't hold it against you. They're as nervous as everyone else. What's most important is getting something in front of your students and getting things running. Because if you don't have anything, then that's what they'll really hold against you. So get your teachers going. Build some classes, not courses, just some classes, and try them out with students. See what's working, learn from mistakes, review, adapt, repeat. Set goals for your teachers and review them together, what they've learned. You should be communicating very regularly with your teachers to ensure that everyone's on the same page, that no one's having difficulties, and that they're learning from each other so that they understand how they might better handle things, and so that they can share tips and ideas with each other, just as they would if they were all together in the teacher conference room or attending regular meetings at your school. Part of this tip also, you should really avoid any solution that will take a long time and cost a lot to set up. A lot of kind of all-in-one solutions are out there that'll do it all for you, but it'll cost you, a few $1,000s to just set the thing up and go through all the sort of seminars. They'll have videos that last for 15 minutes each and 40 of them, and a huge PDF document that you can spend a few hours reading, and then maybe even video conferencing that'll take several hours, and all of this is going to cost you time and money that you really don't have now, and it might not be that good of a product. After all of this, you get it implemented, and then your students aren't happy, or your teachers complain about it, or the features that you thought were critical, as I said before, just turn out not to be. It is very important now to get things moving as quickly as possible and to find solutions that you can implement quickly. Even if there are issues, even if there are glitches here and there, getting it up and running is most important. And then the final tip number 6, learn from your students. You should be listening to your students always. Find out what's working for them, what's not working for them. You need a way of getting feedback from them. Do they have a way of providing feedback to you? Are you using that way? How do they feel about the course material? Does the LMS that you have allow you to see what's going on in that course material? Does it allow the students to give feedback on that material? What is the completion rate of the material? Are students coming to classes, online courses, or not? Are they submitting their assignments, completing their assignments, or not? All of this is very critical to sort of understand how your students are feeling, and that, as much as what your teachers are saying to you, should direct your growth in terms of building out your tech stack, adding new features, changing things around so that they all work better and more fluidly. So that's my 6 tips. Number 1, do only what you need, do it well, then grow. 2, know your tech stack and how it will work together. 3, keep people reasonable, responsible, and accountable. Also, if you can keep them reasonable, that does help. 4, leverage your assets. 5, start fast, make mistakes, learn, grow, repeat. 6, learn from your students. So those are my 6 tips that will help get you going. Now, what I'd like to sort of transition to is how Your Agora might be able to help you with this. So Your Agora, as I said before, is an LMS, a learning management system. We provide a simple but powerful method of creating, curating, editing, assigning, and reviewing course material. Right? That is only going to be one part of your tech stack, but it's a very important part. Right? Our LMS has 3 interlocked platforms that all work in conjunction with each other. We've got the school platform, where you can manage and view stats of students, teachers, and courses. We have the teacher platform, where you can manage courses and assignments. And you have the student platform, where you can do assignments, give feedback, see results on a computer or a smartphone as well. And those together, a school administrator can also be a teacher and also be a student. So you can seamlessly interact between the 3 as well. Although a student would only have access to the student panel, and a teacher may or may not have access to the school panel. They all work sort of independently, but together seamlessly. So as an LMS, right, there are lots of them out there. One of the things that makes us quite unique, quite different, is that we provide, a lot of help setting up all types of courses and offer easy transitions from one type of course to another, right? So you could start off with an offline course. You could make an offline course in Your Agora. You could transition from that and build it out to a blended learning course. And build that out easily to a remote learning course, like a video conference course, and even build that out and transition that into an online learning course where the students are essentially doing it all online with video recordings, YouTube links, and things like that. And of course, you can go backwards as well. You can start with an online course and move it to a remote learning course, or start off with a remote learning course and then transition that over once schools are open again to a blended learning course. Right? So you're not stuck with one type of course structure. It's all fluid, one way and back the other way, to best meet all the types of course material needs of schools. The other thing that makes us quite different is that we provide a catalog of pre-existing material and full courses that are all completely controllable and modifiable, editable by teachers and school administrators. All right, so we have a huge collection of content in our public catalog, which anyone and everyone has access to, as well as a place to store the individual materials that you create yourself that you do not want to share in the public catalog. Anything you find in the public catalog, any of our courses that exist now can be completely editable and modifiable, not just the stuff that you create yourself. And that's all there and available for you. We also have white labeling. If you want to use our platform, but you want it to be from your school, you want your students logging in from your website, and you want them to see your logo at the top, we have white labeling, as it's called, available so that your logo goes up there rather than ours. We have a pricing model that grows with you. We have 3 plan types that you can choose based on the features that you need. 2 weeks of a free trial, and then it's pay by the course. Right? You select the number of courses you want, and you pay for that amount, which means you can easily, month by month or even week by week, day by day, scale up or scale down the number of courses that you have, and save money. There are no setup fees as well, and depending on the circumstances, well, actually, I should say not depending, but because of the circumstances, we are offering price discounts to ensure that everyone all over the world in all of the different conditions that things are in have access, and this is affordable for them. So that's my presentation. I apologize for starting so late. I will now open up the floor to everyone and take some questions. I'm going to need to switch over to the other screen. All right. Any questions, anybody, before we finish this first live stream? Okay. If you have anything else that... yes, for more information about Your Agora, there should be links in the description below. And of course, you can always there's a number of different ways of contacting us. Email. There's actually a little button in the corner of most of our pages where you can quickly message us. Yeah, that's probably the best way. Use that button. We're pretty responsive usually, depending on the time, of course. So thank you, everyone. Happy teaching studies, and I look forward to seeing you all on Your Agora. Take care.